Well, hello, folks, and welcome to the Dieter Melhorn Fishing Podcast. I hope you're having a good day, whatever day it is that you happen to be listening to the show. Today, we're going to talk about the Catfish Conference, the catfish world's biggest trade show, and some bad news that came out this past week about the show. Real quick, I want to thank today's sponsor for the video and the sponsor of the channel, Wind Rider. Got on one of their shirts today, one of their sun shirts. I'm still wearing them. It's fall. I wear them underneath my hoodie or whatever that I'm wearing. I'll tell you why. It's got this little built-in mask in addition to the hood that comes on it. But I love the mask running down the lake. I may actually put this thing to use deer season, which is coming up in 2 days here in the south. For us, doing some deer hunting, it's great to put that mask on to keep the mosquitoes off your face. But they got a lot of this stuff that is on sale right now, these summer shirts that they're clearing out as summer comes to an end because they're gearing up for the winter stuff. We'll have some of their winter stuff on here later this year. They got some really cool rain gear and some cold weather fishing stuff. So check them out. windrider.com, or go to my website, dietermelhornfishing.com, and there's links to all our sponsors on there, along with the promo code, which is CATFISH for this one. That saves you some money if you buy some stuff, so check them out. Catfish Conference. For folks that don't know, it is the industry's biggest trade show. It is a fishing show is what it is. It's not really a conference in that there's a bunch of people talking and putting on seminars, though there are some fishing seminars. It's a trade show. It's a fishing show. And there are people selling stuff, unlike ICAST, which is really more of a trade show. That's a trade show where people are doing business at, this is a fishing show, and it's a lot of catfish-oriented gear. Recently, they added crappie fishing to it and some of their stuff. So there are people selling stuff that has to do with catfish and crappie at this show. You can buy it. And there are the big players in the business like Catfish Pro, one of my sponsors, and there are some of the small people that are selling very small stuff in there. Maybe a guy that makes sinkers or catfish rigs or anchors or something like that. So wide range, and this is important. We're going to get to that in a second, why this news is very important to them. It's been around for, I want to say, close to 10 years now. It's knocking on the door 10 years. Started out very small in a boat dealership parking lot. Most people sold out everything by lunchtime, and then it has grown into a 2-day event. It moved to a hotel, like conference area. It outgrew that. And it eventually moved into the Kentucky Expo Center, which is in Louisville, Kentucky. And it has traditionally been the last weekend of February. Not exactly the best time to be on the road traveling, especially if you're in the Midwest, but that's where it's been. And it's it's done good. It's been good for the industry. It's been a good gathering place. It's been an important place for the smaller vendors to sell stuff. It's been really an important place for any vendor that has catfish specific stuff to sell it, because attendance has been good. Several thousand people show up for this thing. They show up with, saving their money from Christmas and come to buy stuff, and that's a good thing. But what I noticed last year, I always go and look, and this is where kind of it seemed like the downtrend started. I always go, mark the calendar. I go to the website for the Kentucky Expo Center, and I always look to see that, boom, it's booked. They have a calendar for the entire year, every event and vendor that comes there. And I didn't notice anything for the Catfish Conference. Well, generally, you want to book this up well in advance so you get the same weekend. Probably book it up the weekend you leave, I would assume. It's kind of like when you get that nice VRBO house somewhere and you go, I want to come back here this week, next week, you go ahead and book it. So I noticed that wasn't happening. I started talking to some people in the industry, some insiders, and was hearing rumblings that there was turmoil and it may not be happening. And this more asking, looking around, and then word came out that the Catfish Conference had changed the date. That something had went wrong with booking the date, and they moved it to the second weekend in January. That is the weekend after New Year's. the weekend after, the weekend after the Bama Blues, the Winter Blues on Wheeler, the perennial tournament that has been down there for years, that first weekend of the year. They've had that tournament forever. It's a big tournament. A lot of people go to it. And this would be the weekend after that. So, there were some questions, confusion, concern with this tournament being literally 2 weeks after Christmas. Is this a good idea? People travel-wise, taking off time, all that kind of stuff. Was this a good idea? But, it kind of is what it is. We figured that would happen and move on. So, a few weeks ago, I started looking. I said, I'm just going to pull up on the calendar and look. And I went to the Expo Center, and nothing for the Catfish Conference was listed that weekend. And with that being just a few months down the road, generally for these big venues, you need to book stuff well in advance. And again, made a few calls around the industry and found out that the rumblings were it wasn't going to happen at all. And, at that point, Steve Douglas had made some comments that it was still happening. He's got the World Catfish Championship or World Championship of Catfish, and I always get the name backwards, that he is doing, I believe, in May. It's basically an old tournament that's been around forever, and he's trying to rekindle it and make it into a big event. And we'll talk about that some in a second here. But he had said that there was going to be an expo taking place there. He said, this is not Catfish Conference. Catfish Conference was still happening. It was separate. And, that kind of gave us, well, maybe this is going to happen. And, but what happened was, like last week, he made the announcement that the Catfish Conference in 2026 is not happening. It is not going to happen. No Catfish Conference in 2026. Said it had been put on hold, been put on the back burner, or something to that effect, in a press release that he put out. No defined plans for anything down the road. And so everybody that was planning on going to the Catfish Conference, it's not happening and in 2026. Now, it brings up some questions. Is this the end of the show? Is this just a slow death, dying on the vine? Not too dissimilar to what's happened with the ACA, the American Catfishing Association. It's still around, but it's slowly dissolving into obscurity. Is this a bigger sign of the industry itself having plateaued? We've talked about that before. Has it hit its peak? Has it plateaued? Is it in decline? Those are things that make you wonder. To have something that has been, kind of a perennial favorite in the catfishing world, all of a sudden it's not happening. It does make you wonder. I think I missed 2 years, was there last year. The years before that, it seemed to be an increase in people. Last year's show seemed to be fewer people. That was kind of my overall feel vibe. I didn't sit there and count people with a clicker when they came in the door, but it seemed like less people. I remember when they first went to the Expo Center, there was a line back out to the parking lot to get in. Didn't see as much of that this past year. So I don't know if it's a sign of something bigger or not. I will say this, and here's my prediction on this. This is my opinion. I don't know if the Catfish Conference will continue to exist as it has, but I do think there will be a catfishing trade show. I think this thing Steve Douglas is doing, and again, I've had no conversations with him about this. I chose to kind of keep this my own opinion and insight and vision than to be biased with basically the press release information that I feel I would get. That's what it comes down to. I invite Steve to be on the show if he wants to and talk to him, and y'all know how that goes. I ask candid questions, and I ask the questions, and we'll see what's said. I do invite him to be on the show if he wants to talk about it, but it'll be an in-depth conversation. But what I think is going to happen is I believe that this new catfishing world championship of catfishing that I believe takes place in Kentucky in May. A much better time to be out traveling to shows. I think this expo that they're going to have may be the next evolution to a catfishing fishing show, catfishing specific, because as I've said many times, this is actually a great format for it. You've got a tournament going on. You've got a big event, circus, fair, hoopla going on around this thing. There's not a circus or a fair, but there's stuff going on, food vendors, shows, concerts. And then you've got a fishing show going on too. So you're getting this trifecta of entertainment. That is the thing Louisville never had. And no matter what the Catfish Conference wanted to argue, it was a mediocre location at best in a relatively bad time of the year to be having a fishing show. February, between the weather, the only thing worse than that was doing it in January. So it's a mediocre location that nobody really wants to go to, that there's really nothing else to do there, except you're hoping that there's something else at the expo center you can go visit. To moving this thing to May, when his catfish tournament is, and having a fishing show around all of that. I think that's where the evolution could be with this. I think it facilitates easier travel, perhaps, with people. And, I think it could be a good thing. I think you may get more people on attendance. In one aspect, it's a bad time of the year because it's some good fishing in May, and that can, hinder maybe some people. But I think for the overall angler, I think that would be a good thing. So that may be that would be my prediction, is that the Catfish Conference, so to speak, starts to wane and fade out, and that this Catfish Expo becomes more of the dominant factor, the dominant show, the place to be. So that's my prediction on it. But the bad news is, dude, we're not going to get to see each other. We're not going to get to see each other at the Catfish Conference in 2026, and that's too bad. I was looking forward to the show, looking forward to seeing everybody. It's fun. It's kind of a family reunion kind of thing. But my hope is that maybe I can get the folks at Catfish Pro. They do a lot of fishing shows around the country, a lot of shows where they have booths set up. Maybe I can get to some of those. I will keep y'all posted if I do some of those, and we can do a little meet and greet, shake hands, and take a picture together or something. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, just wanted to drop that info, let y'all know what's going on with that, and we'll catch you out on the water.